Good morning, everybody. Standing by as we go live here on Facebook. We'll be joined shortly by meteorologist Blake Matthews. He's coming up from the KH11 News studio. Just recapping a little bit about what's happened overnight with tropical depression, Imelda. It was a tropical storm, came on us suddenly yesterday. Quickly it was downgraded to a tropical depression, and thankfully overnight, yes, we've received a lot of rain, and particularly along the coast, but at this time we have not had widespread reports of flash flooding in the Houston area, although a flash flood watch continues for most of southeast Texas and including portions of Louisiana. So that is the main issue that we're watching, is the fact that we're not out of the clear, we're not out of the woods yet, we're not totally in the clear yet. As we continue to watch the satellite imagery, if we can pop that up, we should be able to take a look here of this tropical depression as it continues to swirl, and what we're seeing is it's only moving northward at about 5 miles per hour. And we kind of dodged a bullet this morning, as we've been told by meteorologist Cheetah Craft, in that if this tropical depression and those large bands, particularly on the south side of the storm that are along the coast, if they had moved inland, a little bit closer inland, we could have ended up in some real issues with the system. But thankfully, most of that heavy rainfall has been off the coast or along the coast. In particular, you can see right now Bay City all the way to Freeport picking up some heavy rain, and it just continues to almost what they call that training effect all the way through Matagorda County, Brazoria County, portions of Angleton also picking up some of this heavy to moderate rainfall. For those of us in Houston, you're thinking, okay, is it safe for me to go to work? Is it safe for me to go to school? Many school districts, in particular down toward the coast, have canceled classes for the day. We have that full list on KHU.com and in our mobile app. But for now, Houston ISD, at last check, is still in session. I know some of you in the chat right now on Facebook talking about Houston ISD. Some of you surprised by that, some of you not surprised by that. We also had power outages to worry about this morning, and that's one of those things that school districts look into when they consider canceling classes for the day. Is, okay, yeah, you can get to school, but is the power going to be on? We've been checking with CenterPoint Energy all morning long, and we know that at around 3 a.m. This morning, there were about 10,000 CenterPoint customers without electricity. CenterPoint doesn't extend into some parts of Galveston County, which is where we're seeing a lot of the worst of this rain this morning, and some of the lightning too from Bay City to Freeport. But 10,000 customers, that's a lot for the Houston area. Certainly not as bad as we had it during Hurricane Ike and Hurricane Harvey. But nonetheless, we're seeing some real improvements with those power outages, and the fact that we're down to about 2,000 power outages. So that's the good news. I'm seeing in the chat Monica checking in from Katy, Texas. I know we had a small cluster of power outages over toward Katy, but thankfully right now it looks like it's very controlled. And in fact, if you look at the radar, you can see just some light to moderate rainfall in Katy. As far as traffic goes overall this morning, the freeways are not in bad shape, I will say, considering what it could have been. I think a lot of people are staying home. If we can cut on over to the computer, I could show you a few things that we have going on right now throughout the area. And you can see right now, this is the CenterPoint outage tracker map. And this is just a public website anybody can go to. You've probably been to it since we've been through a number of these situations before. As of right now, we have 2,300 customers without electricity reported in this CenterPoint coverage area. A large cluster there below the woodlands. It looks like maybe 100 or 200 people there. We still have a large cluster down here near that major construction on the West Loop, the Southwest Freeway. But for the most part, it's fairly spread throughout the area. And as I said, one of the worst areas right now getting a lot of that lightning is from Freeport to Brazoria, down in Matagorda County. Those areas are not covered by CenterPoint, so that's not included in the outage tracker. We saw a pretty good lightning show down there as well. We had some gusty winds overnight that knocked over a tree. We also have a small mudslide that was along the South Loop frontage road heading westbound. Talking about those school closures, I'm on Houston ISD's Twitter account right now because this is the biggest school district, obviously, in our area and in the entire state for that matter. And Houston ISD made the call earlier this morning around 4 a.m. They sent this tweet out saying all Houston ISD schools and district offices will operate under normal schedules today. No closures, no delays, but all after-school activities and athletic events are canceled. And they say they are going to continue to monitor those weather conditions, and they'll keep parents and students informed of any impacts to the schedule, because we are closely watching that radar. And, you know, things could change. If that band, that southern band, heads inland and then trains like it is now, then we could end up with some real issues closer to town. This is a tweet going around overnight from Pearland ISD, a screen grab from their Facebook page. And they said overnight there is a fake message being circulated that school has been canceled in Pearland ISD. They're saying that is not a message from the school district. So Pearland ISD is going to have class today. They have not made a call yet about after-school activities. So at last check, Pearland ISD was still going to have those after-school activities. We'll have to stand by and kind of keep an eye out to see if they end up canceling them. Some of the later closures that we had come in were University of Houston Clear Lake. They are not closed, but they're starting at 10 a.m. So they're on our list of delays this morning, or delayed openings, which we have on our app and the homepage of khou.com. We're also looking at Crosby Independent School District. They're saying with student and staff safety in mind, they will cancel school for the day. Alvin ISD saying due to the uncertainty of the weather and the safety and security of our students, Alvin ISD is closed today. And that's one of the things that's really hard to determine with these things. Sometimes you don't know you're in trouble as far as this street flooding goes until it's too late. I know Kim in our Facebook chat right now saying I'm in League City. It started raining at 2 a.m. and it has not stopped. And I think a lot of us kind of feel the same way. At times it's really, really hard rain, and then other times it's light to moderate showers, and we get really concerned when we hear that heavy rainfall pounding up against the window. Thankfully, that did not continue all night long inside Beltway 8, inside the loop. Otherwise, we'd be in real trouble. We'd be in a different story. But that's part of the reason we just have to keep a close eye on the situation, because this is still a tropical depression, still has a lot of tropical moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. And with it only moving northward at 5 miles per hour, if we end up with any of these bands, these rain bands that just train over and over again in certain areas, we could end up in a real jam. LaPorte ISD saying due to ground saturation and weather uncertainty, again, there's that keyword uncertainty. You just don't know what's going to happen. LaPorte ISD closed for the day. This includes operations and the administration buildings, so they're also closed. Like I said, we have the full list on khou.com. Let's jump back over to the satellite view, the radar view of the tropical depression and the latest view of what's going on. Actually, we're looking at some rainfall totals here expected for the next all the way through Friday. You know, the forecast we're seeing at this point, we could start to get some relief later tomorrow. I know Blake Matthews will be joining us shortly with an update on the weather situation and that forecast specifically. But you can see right now these updated rainfall totals. The rainfall totals west of Houston, north of Houston, not as bad as they once were. Now we're seeing the bulk of these rain excess of 6 inches is now mainly south of Houston, southeast of Houston, and far southwest of Houston, down in Matagorda County. Look at that, 15.4 inches of rain in Hawkinsville. It looks like Blake is actually adding some rainfall totals right now. 3.3 inches expected along South Beltway 8, not far from 288, so that's more like Brazoria County, northern Brazoria County, Pearland area, about 3 inches. So that's not the kind of rainfall you'd expect, especially over a period of time where you'd have to worry about potentially floodwaters coming into your home at least. I know that's what a lot of people are concerned about. A lot of us have, you know, remember Hurricane Harvey very clearly. So we all get nervous when it rains this hard. And thankfully the rainfall totals that we're seeing so far, in particular close to Houston, it's not enough to go into the buildings. But we are concerned about our friends, our neighbors down along the coast. In particular, this flash flood watch that continues. You can see the areas shaded in green there. And that flash flood watch continuing for the rest of the day, today into tomorrow. And there's also a flash flood warning that I know went into effect early this morning, southwest of Houston as well, from Bay City to Freeport. Blake Matthews will be joining us here in just a couple of minutes, and he's going to have a more detailed look at the forecast. I'm checking out some of your comments. I know that Sandra in the chat is asking about the Woodlands. Thankfully, because you're well away from the coast, which is where we're seeing the worst of it, yeah, you're picking up some showers, maybe some gusty winds in particular late last night and early this morning. But thankfully, no lasting impacts or long-term effects as far as what we're seeing on the south side with this heavy rainfall and some streets that have flooded. I know down toward Hobby Airport, we had some issues with flooding as well along Monroe, the Monroe Street, the one that runs right toward Hobby Airport from Monroe south of Airport Boulevard. We just had some real issues with flooding on that street. We saw the guy in the truck that was kind of stuck in the high water earlier. We have some of you asking about school district closures. Yes, Spring ISD is open. Let's check in with Ruben. He's been in our weather tracker kind of driving around this morning and see what Ruben has for us. I don't know if Ruben could hear us. Let's take a look here.
Yes, sir. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Houston. We are actually here in the heart of Galveston on Strand Street. And as you can see, major flooding throughout the area. In fact, they have closed off some of the streets throughout the area. We've been out here for the past couple of hours driving down on I-45 South. We didn't see any major accidents, but definitely the streets are pretty bare. Folks are making, they're staying home if they have to stay home, really listening to our reports and keeping it safe. In fact, there was one gentleman who we caught up with, Mr. Billy Jack, who is from Galveston. You drove, you were actually riding on your bike with your umbrella. You said you got to go to work, huh?
Yes, sir. I'm headed for work this morning.
Yes, sir. And what do you think of all this flooding and this weather?
We needed it, but it's real bad. We haven't been able to work the last couple of days, working around the shop, stuff like that, but we needed a lot of rain, but we didn't need this much.
Yes, sir. Well, you've seen a lot of this throughout the years, as you can see, with a lot of the rain, a lot of the flooding throughout Galveston. What is your biggest concern, would you say?
Just people stay off the streets and not drive too much today because they might get stuck, a lot of flooding and heavy wind.
So why don't you just stay home?
Because I have to go to my shop this morning and open the shop and feed the dogs. My boss has dogs.
All right.
And I have to feed them every morning and check on the shop.
Well, yes, sir. Well, you got to be safe. And thank you so much for joining us right here. KHOU, again, it's coming down. The big message here, stay safe. And if you don't have to hit the streets or go to work, officials are saying stay home and don't take the risks. Back to you.
Ruben, let's take a look here at the flash flood watches that we have currently in effect. And you can see as I get the take a look at the map, we'll see that we're going to continue with the digital coverage here. You see in the green we've got the flash flood watch in effect. This is going to be for most areas now. If you've been watching this morning, you'll notice that the flash flood watch has been expanded northward to include areas north of Houston. This is going to be Montgomery County, San Jacinto County, Polk County, Trinity County, and Walker County. Now look down towards Bay City and Freeport, and my goodness, they've got a flash flood warning in effect. The reason for that is they have over 15 inches of rain according to Doppler radar estimates. And boy, it's really coming down in buckets there at this time. And we have made some phone calls down into Matagorda County, and so far we're not seeing too many problems down there, although we are seeing a few roads that are impassable down here into the coastal areas of Brazoria, getting down towards Freeport, Bay City, and just to the northeast to Palacios. It's easy to see why, because we're talking about a heavy rain band that continues to set up shop directly over the coast. In fact, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's take a look at some of the school districts here. These are the newest school closures that we have so far this morning. They do include Liberty ISD, Galena Park, East Chambers, Angleton, Deer Park, Sheldon, LaPorte, and Van Vleck. You'll want to go to khou.com for a full list of all the school closures, and there are a bunch of them, mainly to the east and southeast of Houston. So if you're watching from areas like Conroe or Tomball or out towards Katy, Sugar Land, and Mission Bend, you guys are going to school today. It's going to be the areas down near the coast, Galveston County, Southeast Harris County, Liberty County, getting up into, looks like into southern San Jacinto County as well. We've also got a school district there in Brazoria County that is closed for the day. So again, khou.com is where you're going to find the full rundown of school closures, and there's quite a few of them. All right, now here's a look at the radar. Again, you can see that we are dealing with a very heavy squall line that has just been hanging out right at the coast at this time. Lots of lightning. We're seeing rainfall rates 2, 3, 4 inches of rain per hour. In fact, areas southwest of Freeport picking up over 15 inches of rain, and it is still coming down very heavy at this time. Inside the city of Houston, not a whole lot going on. We're just seeing some light to moderate rain. We can absorb this. The ground obviously very dry, and really have not seen much in the way of very heavy rain in the city of Houston itself. 2, 3, maybe some areas picking up 4 inches, and really speaking for the city of Houston, most of the heaviest of the rain has been concentrated here in southeast Houston. We're talking the Pasadena area, maybe getting down into Pearland, all the way down towards Sims Creek and northern portions of Galveston County. That's really where we've seen the bulk of the heaviest of the rain closest to the city of Houston. If you're up here, say, in the Spring Woodlands area, Jersey Village, Katy, Sugar Land, you're saying, what rain? It's just a normal rainy day. Really haven't seen too much out there. No, you haven't, but we're still under this risk of some very heavy rain for the next 24 hours as what is left of Imelda continues to pull on off towards the north at about 5 miles per hour. And this heavy band that you see developing here on the far southwest side may try to move up into our coastal counties as we get into the afternoon. So here's a closer look here, getting down towards Matagorda County into Brazoria County. There's Freeport right there. You've got Bryan Beach. So let me change the color here so you can see it maybe a little better. And the coast is going to be right there. So I know it's hard to see, but this is kind of where the beaches are. So basically just inland from the coast, we're talking Hawkinsville, we're seeing very heavy rain. We've got that flash flood warning in effect until 9 o'clock. Lake Jackson, Sweeney, Brazoria, you guys are included in this flash flood warning as well. And all this continues to move on off towards the east. So we're seeing problems now beginning to develop over in the Galveston area, where of course we saw Reuben just a little while ago, and it's easy to see why. Check out some of these rainfall totals. There you go. 15.4 inches of rain according to the radar, and it is still raining heavy down there just to the east and southeast of Hawkinsville. We've got almost 10 inches of rain now being reported near Freeport, almost 7 inches of rain there in the Angleton area, 8.1, 6.4, but look how the rain totals decrease rapidly as you approach the city of Houston, and areas to the north and west of Houston really haven't seen much at all. In fact, radar estimates out there towards Katy only showing about 1/10 of an inch of rain over the last 36 hours. So the bottom line is, the closer to the coast you are, I think the heavier those totals are going to be. So here's what you can expect. The heavy rain threat, 9 a.m. to noon, a 90% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly along and south of I-10. Noon to 3, 70% chance of scattered showers. 3 to 6, it drops to a 60% chance as we continue to watch this system pull away on off to the north. Now, as far as the rainfall forecast, really I want you to take this with a grain of salt, because we have seen some big blockbuster numbers appear on this particular model, and none of them so far have come to fruition. Now, earlier, if you were watching this morning, Beaumont was showing 31 inches of rain being forecast. Now it's down to 28, and I think that is really, really high. I really don't think we're going to see this come to fruition. However, we could see 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 inches of rain, which is still quite a lot of water if it all comes down at one time. But to see 28 inches, I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll continue to keep a very close eye on it. Again, the highest rain totals that we've seen so far have been right down in Matagorda County and southwest Brazoria County, coming in at about 15 inches. So, yes, the heavy rain is out there, but you'll notice, again, same narrative. The further away you are from the coast, the further inland you are, the lower those rain chances are going to be. In fact, those of you out here in Grimes County, Brazos County, Washington County, Austin County, you guys aren't even in the flash flood watch. So we're not really looking for heavy rain out there. So the center of low pressure is currently sitting pretty much directly over the Woodlands, and we're getting this counterclockwise flow around that area of low pressure, and as the wind comes around from the south and west, it's picking up all of this Gulf moisture, and that's why we're seeing the very heavy rain continuing to pile into the coastal regions and into our eastern counties, and the model is picking up on that. But I think that 28 might be a little high, but again, 8 to 10 certainly a possibility as we head over the next 24 hours. So we're going to continue to watch for that flood threat. This takes us into right about now, actually, and actually the model doing a very good job picking up on the heavy rain to the south and east of Houston. We're going to continue to see this throughout the day, but look what happens by 1 o'clock. That rain continues here along the coast, stretching out towards the Beaumont area, maybe getting out towards the East Tex Freeway and east of there. And by 6 o'clock, maybe seeing things taper down a little bit, but by 6 a.m. Thursday morning, more very heavy rain developing here across portions of Hardin County, Jefferson County, getting into Tyler County as well, Jasper and Newton counties. Here locally, we're just dealing with a few scattered showers. Now, as we get into 10:30, we're seeing more heavy rain develop here out towards Galveston and into the Beaumont area, but you'll notice most of what we see here in the city of Houston remains fairly scattered in nature. So we're going to continue to see these rain chances drop throughout the day. 90% chance right now, light to moderate rain for the city of Houston. Very heavy, if not excessive to extreme rainfall rates out along the immediate coast. We're talking Hawkinsville, we're talking Freeport, maybe even into Galveston as well. Once you move inland from those areas, things begin to drop off pretty rapidly. 70% chance of rain heading into the lunch hour. By the afternoon, we're at a 60% chance. High temperatures today, as you might guess, only stuck in the lower 80s. So guys, once again, that flash flood watch in effect all afternoon, mainly along and south of I-10 is where we're seeing the biggest problems with flooding right now. If you're north of I-10, we have seen that flood watch extended to the north to include Montgomery, Walker, San Jacinto, Polk, and Trinity counties, but so far, no big problems down there. The biggest blockbuster amount of rain that I have been able to find so far is going to be just west of Freeport, coming in at 15.4 inches, and it is still raining heavy. I guess we're going to toss to Janelle here. And Janelle, it looks like it is raining very heavy down there on the coast. What are you seeing down there where you are?
Hey, good morning. Just an absolute mess here on Monroe Road near Hobby Airport. Want to give you an idea of what folks out here are dealing with. You can see cars stalled all throughout this road. You can just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, just right here. And cars not even heeding to this warning, still trying to make their way through this high water in this area. I want to show you just how misleading this is, because I mean, if you're driving through here, if you're over here in this Chevron parking lot, it may not look like it's as deep as it is, but you just take a few steps down into the roadway and you see that water just starts to roll up almost over my boots here, and it's getting deeper as I walk down. I'm not even going to go any further because I have no idea how low it's going to get. That is what these cars are dealing with, and that is the reason why so many of these cars are stalled out here. Just a few minutes ago, this silver car that you're looking at was sitting there. Tow truck came over, tried to help it. We heard a loud boom, and then the engine began to smoke. So very dangerous conditions out here. This is one of those moments where we really want to send that reminder that your safety is the #1 priority. Anywhere that you're trying to get is not more important than your safety. I know we beat this in your head over and over again, turn around, don't drown, but this is the reason why. These are unsafe conditions. You see rain still falling, this water expected to rise even higher over here. Just a moment ago, we saw a school bus down here that had to turn around, but trucks like this one, cars, still thinking that they can make their way through this road. And it seems to be impassable, honestly. I was talking to some of the folks that work in the gas station here behind us. They tell me that this road has had flooding problems since Harvey. They've been talking to officials, trying to get something done about the drainage here, to no avail. As you can see, just looking down this road, a number of cars coming this way, realizing that they can't get through, turning around, and then others just saying, you know, whatever, we're going to try it anyways. So that's what's going on this morning. As I said, we're near Hobby Airport on the same road. There's a number of rental car agencies down there that also have cars needing to get in and out. Many of those folks don't live here in Houston, don't know about the road condition, don't know about the flooding. So this is something that is definitely going to take a toll on a lot of folks. I know last night, if you were watching KHOU, Chris Costa, he had a great story about when emergency officials say you should probably not try and go down a road. And their guidance was that if you can't see the curb, if the water is over the curb, then it's probably the best idea to stop and turn around. Obviously, that's the case here. These curbs here definitely underwater. A lot of the medians you can see coming up here, the median almost unrecognizable except the small patch of grass here in the middle. That silver car there has been sitting here for a while, those wheels just turning as they try and get out of this mess. I was speaking with some folks who are here in this gas station parking lot. They tell me they've been here since 1, 2 o'clock in the morning because they know that their cars couldn't make it through. So just a complete mess over here. We've been here throughout the morning. There were even more cars stalled out here, but thanks to photojournalist Mars behind the camera here, he was helping to push some of those cars into this lot. Hopefully people will see just what a mess this is and not even try and get over here so that doesn't have to happen. But if you are watching this, if you see high water, turn around. It's not worth it. Your safety is the #1 priority. We'll be out here throughout the morning. We'll give you updates as we get them. As you see, a number of tow trucks, a number of tow companies just sitting around waiting to help folks out. But if you use your brain and you don't drive into it in the first place, you won't need help getting out. So in the meantime, I'm going to send it to you, Blake. Blake, what's going on?
Good morning. Hey guys, good morning Houston. What a morning. We're here in the heart of Galveston. As you can see, we're on the Strand. Flooding, flooding, flooding. That's all I got to say. In fact, as you can see, the street is right there, and we're actually on the sidewalk, and we're seeing the water rise right before our very eyes. In fact, here are a lot of the businesses right over here to my right, and cars are taking a risk going through. We haven't seen too many of them, so they are taking the officials' advice to don't take the risk. But as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the shops are right here along on the side. As water's starting to go in, folks have already put up some sandbags to make sure that they don't get inside their home or inside their businesses. But this is the situation right here in Galveston. And as we've been out here for the past several hours, a lot of folks have been slowing down. But again, some of these streets are blocked off, so we would advise you not to come through this area. We did see one gentleman actually ride on his bicycle with an umbrella, saying he has to go to work. But if you don't have to go to work, officials are saying stay home and keep it safe. And so that is the message here live from Galveston. Back to you, Blake, with more updates.
And here's a live look at the radar, guys, right now. You can see we are still editing some things here with the radar, but the bottom line is it is raining very heavy this morning down in Brazoria, Matagorda County. Again, 15.4 inches of rain being reported down there just to the west of Freeport, getting down close to the Hawkinsville area. We're seeing a lot of road closures according to county officials down there, so big problems. And this band of heavy rain, thankfully, at least right now for the city of Galveston, for the most part remains just offshore. And again, you can see Galveston located right there. Most of that heavy band, that big heavy squall line, continues to stay just to the east and southeast of the island itself, but it is moving out towards Sabine Pass. We've got flash flood watches out there locally and light to moderate rain falling here along the I-10 corridor. So we're not done with this yet. In fact, we've got a slew of school closures already. And take a look at them. Here's just, well, we'll first off zoom in down into the Jones Creek area. Here's Freeport. And again, Cheetah's working the radar here, so just bear with us just for a little bit. But Pearland, you guys are seeing a few scattered showers right now out towards Sugarland. But look at this. If you're out towards Katy, Jersey Village, out in northwest Harris County towards Hockley, not seeing much in the way of heavy rain at all. In fact, we've had no problems there. If you're north of I-10, really no flooding issues whatsoever. The only issues that we have seen are going to be, first off, down here towards Monroe, where we've got feeder road issues, and also down into the El Dorado area. area where we've got the feeder roads that are closed due to high water. Those are the only two trouble spots we've seen all morning long. Other than that, all area freeways, the Loop, the Beltway, North, I-45, I-10, 290, 59, East Tex and Southwest freeways all running at posted speeds this morning. Really not seeing any issues there at all. Again, the closer to the coast you are, the heavier the rain is going to be. Galveston and Brazoria counties really are seeing the brunt of the action right now. Now, we do have a flash flood warning. This is going to be, looks like, to encompass portions of northeast Harris County out towards Lake Houston. So those of you out in the Huffman area, Kingwood, Lake Houston, getting up into Liberty County, we've got that flash flood advisory issued there. Now, a flash flood warning remains in effect. This is going to be until 9 a.m. down towards portions of Brazoria County. Here's League City and Dickinson. You can see the light to moderate rain continuing. Actually, it looks like it's picking up out towards the Friendswood area. Zooming on down, there's Bayou Vista right there, Tiki Island, Virginia Point. This is cross the causeway right here. There's the causeway. So once you cross over into Galveston Island, turns into Broadway. 45 turns into Broadway, as you know. Very heavy rain out here as you get towards the 61st Street exit, and that's going to cause some issues down there with some ponding, as we've seen Ruben report all morning long down there from Galveston. We're seeing a lot of those streets becoming impassable down there on the bay side of the island, getting out towards the cruise terminal, the Strand. Not saying that those areas are impassable yet, but we're seeing standing water, some of which, some cases, the water is approaching the curb, if not a little higher than that. So just be careful as you make your way down there along Galveston Island. This rain is going to continue all afternoon, it looks like, and we're seeing rainfall rates 2, 3, 4 inches of rain per hour. And of course, if this keeps up over the course of the next couple of hours, we could very well total 10, 15, 20 inches of rain along the immediate coast. So Tiki Island, Virginia Point, once again, out towards Bayou Vista. We're continuing to see the heavy rainfall at this time. And again, Cheetah is working the radar because actually she's using this on air right now. If I were to expand the view a little bit, again, the heaviest of the rain remains just offshore of Galveston. We could very easily see that shift back on off to the north a little later on this afternoon. So those flood watches remain in effect for the rest of the day today. They have been expanded northward to include our northern counties, Montgomery, Walker, San Jacinto, Polk, and Trinity counties. And we could see some very heavy rain redevelop as we get into the afternoon hours today, overnight tonight, and into your Thursday. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on that. We've got a slew of school closures across the area. 15, 20, 25 school districts. I haven't counted, but there are a lot. Go to khou.com for the full list on that, and we'll have another weather update coming up in just a few minutes. So I'm not sure, Doug, if we're going to toss it back over to you. Doug, are you ready? You ready? So Doug is getting ready right now. Once again, we'll continue to hold on to the radar here just for a second. And yeah, we're just going to see the very heavy rain continuing here, and we could see the possibility of some flooding become more of an issue along the immediate coast as we get into the afternoon hours. So a messy day here across the Houston area. Thankfully, even though we have a tropical depression sitting right over the top of us, we have not seen very many problems at all in the city of Houston. You know how quickly we flood, and so far all the bayous and streams seem to be doing their job. Of course, we really haven't seen a lot of rain inside the city of Houston. It looks like average rain totals have been between 1 and 3 inches. A lot better than some of the forecasts we saw yesterday showing 8 to 10 inches for the city of Houston, with some areas picking up 25 plus down there along the coast. Again, the highest rainfall totals that we've been able to find so far today have been right around 15.4 inches. And let me see if Cheetah is... I don't think Cheetah is on the air, so give me just 1 second. Let me pull my trusty computer around, and we'll start the radar tour over again. So here's a look once again. You can see just how heavy the rain is coming down. This is Hawkinsville, right along the immediate coast, Bryan Beach, Freeport. And one of the things we look at to see exactly how heavy the rain is coming down is the lightning. Lightning is a great indicator of just how strong the storm is. And my goodness, it is just coming down in buckets down here along the immediate coast. Easy to see why we have tallied up so much rain in such a short amount of time. So here's a look at the flood watches that we have seen so far. You can see basically encompassing most of southeast Texas, but where you'll notice We do not have a flash flood watch in effect for our western counties, Grimes, Waller, Washington, Austin, and Colorado counties out there in Columbus. You guys really haven't seen much in the way of rain at all. Most of the rain has been along and south of I-10, where we've got that flash flood warning in effect right now. That does include Bay City, Freeport, just to the northeast of Palacios, and all into deep East Texas as well. Let me clear that off, and we'll talk about some of those school closures. So here we go. Give it just a second to load up. Now, I just want to emphasize that these are the newest school closures that we have so far. Liberty ISD, Galena Park ISD, East Chambers ISD, Angleton, Deer Park, Sheldon, LaPorte, Van Vleck, and many others. If you go to khou.com for the full list, Cleveland ISD is included in this. Down here, Galveston ISD is included in this. Texas City, LaPorte. We've got Friendswood ISD. We've got Clear Creek ISD, Goose Creek ISD. We've got a bunch of them that are included here, and you'll notice that it is mainly east and southeast of Houston where that arcing band continues to drop that heavy rain, generally along and south of I-10 and then cutting up into our eastern counties where we are seeing a few flash flood warnings remain in effect. So here is a look at the radar once again. Let me zoom on out just a little bit. And we'll do kind of a radar tour. So first off, the center of circulation with this particular storm, or what remains of it, if you look carefully, appears to be actually, let me clear this off. Let me change the color of this so you can see it a little better. The center of circulation appears to be kind of sitting right in this general area. So there's your low. And all of the rain is rotating around that area of low pressure in a counterclockwise form and bringing up all that moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico, and that's why we're seeing the heaviest of the rain basically to the east and to the south of Houston. We do have a flash flood advisory. This is going to be in effect until 8:45 a.m., and that does include most of Liberty County, extreme northeast portions of Harris County, that is just right along, basically cuts Lake Houston in half. So Kingwood out there towards Huffman. If you're along Highway 90, that takes you from Harris County into Liberty County. You guys are also included in that flash flood advisory. Continuing our tour, there is a look at High Island. It looks like now we've got a brand new flood advisory. This is going to be until 9:30. This does include now Galveston County, again until 9:30, and very heavy rain continuing to work its way up through that region right now. Very heavy rain just now east of High Island. We have a flash flood advisory. This is going to be for, it looks like, Jefferson and Orange counties out there in deep East Texas. Crystal Beach, you guys are seeing some light to moderate rain. League City, looks like maybe a lightning strike popping up there near Friendswood. And but the bulk of the action continues to be out there towards Bay Harbor, Freeport, and getting down into Brazoria and Matagorda counties. And my goodness, look at that. You can see that arcing feeder band coming down right through Freeport into Hawkinsville. And I'll be interested to see exactly, well, actually, you know what? We can look. Let me put this in the now mode. And we can see exactly how many lightning strikes we're dealing with. First off, let me draw a little box. And look at that, 638 lightning strikes in that particular cell right now. Look at this, positive strikes, 406. And those are the ones that are really the dangerous ones. Those are the ones that set your house on fire. Those are very strong, and they come out of the top of the cloud. That's why they're positive, because that's where all the positive ions are in the cloud, the positive charges, I should say, at the top of the cloud. When you get a lot of ice, you get a lot of hail in the cloud, they begin to knock together. As the ice pings together, little charges pop off. The negative go to the bottom. The positive charges go to the top of the cloud up into the anvil. And every once in a while, you get positive strikes to arc out of the top of the cloud and hit the ground. And those are very strong. Those are 406 of those. So very dangerous weather going on this morning out there along the immediate coast into Brazoria and Matagorda counties. And what's so dangerous about it is going to be the amount of rain and the rain rates that we're seeing with this particular cell. I guarantee you we're seeing 3, 4, 5 inches of rain per hour with this particular cell. In fact, let me see if I can pull this up here in just a second. I've got to turn the lightning off first to get an accurate count. So like with this cell here just to the south of Freeport, well, there's your flash flood warning. Let me turn that off. And now we should be able to get an accurate reading here. So with this one, look at that, 2.74 inches per hour, and that is certainly enough to put some roads under there to the south of Freeport. Let me clear that out and see if we can get a reading of another part of the cell. Yeah, so the highest rain rates that I can find so far right now are just shy of 3 inches of rain per hour, and that looks about right to me. And it's easy to see why. Take a look at this. Some of these rainfall totals that we have tallied up so far. And really, really, really thankful. There's a lot to be thankful for here, and that is look where the heaviest of the rain has been, right there offshore. Now, if this were located just about 25 miles further to the north, we would see big problems with rainfall rates 10, 15, 20 inches. And look at this. 15.4 now being recorded there in just to the east and southeast of Hawkinsville, 9.6, almost 10 inches there in Freeport. Bay Harbor a little less than that, 8.1, 6.7, 6.4 getting up just to the west of League City and extreme northern portions of Galveston County, just to the east of Pearland, where Pearland itself has picked up 5 to 7 inches of rain in some of those neighborhoods. So the closer to the coast you are, the heavier the rain is going to be. Clearly, my goodness, very heavy rain continuing this morning along the immediate coast. So Doug, we're going to continue to watch this carefully throughout the day today. Flash flood watch is in effect all day long. The closer to the coast you are, the more likely it is you're going to see some very heavy rain. And again, we could see rainfall rates 3 to 4 inches of rain per hour as we're seeing right now along the immediate coast.
Okay, thanks a lot, Blake. I'm over here at what we call the bridge in our newsroom. Blake is just across the way over there in the newsroom, probably about 10, 15 yards away from me. I'm up here at the bridge monitoring the latest of everything that's going on. I heard from someone named Sheila Tequila. I don't know if she's using her real name, but she's on our Facebook page asking about some of the flooded roads, in particular the Be Someone Bridge. You know, that infamous bridge right there, I-45, I-10, where they come together near downtown. Let's take a look at the high water locations. I have them pulled up on the computer here, and we have this list on khou.com. It's automatically updated from Transtar. If we could pull up the second computer. It looks like we're pulling up the first computer, maybe, Brandon? So standing by for this list, but essentially I can tell you about our flooded roads. Thankfully this morning, and as you'll see from some of these tweets, a lot of people saying, turn around, don't drown. That's always the warning we hear when we have heavy rainfall potentially coming into Houston. But thankfully this morning, there's not a lot of spots where we have to heed that warning. Taking a look at the high water locations list, there's only 3 on here right now as far as our major roads and freeways go. So you're not going to see Monroe on here. Monroe is the road that Janelle has been reporting on all morning long, but you can pull this list up on our app on khou.com. Right now you can see the 3 locations reported: I-45, the Gulf Freeway, southbound at El Dorado, that's the frontage road there, and the exit ramp. We know a lot of construction's been going on in that area. Also I-45, the Gulf Freeway heading southbound at FM 2351. Clear Lake City Boulevard. Again, one of those areas with construction. Around 4 this morning, both of those spots were reported with high water on the frontage road alone. Thankfully, our freeways are in good shape this morning. In fact, traffic a little bit lighter out there than it would be normally. I think a lot of people staying home. I'm just going to switch over to Google Maps like you might do and turn on the traffic data. You can see some red out there. On a normal day, you wouldn't see nearly this much green, but I think some people staying home just because of the slick roads, others staying home because their kids' classes were canceled and someone has to stay home with the kids. Talking about those school closures, we have not heard from any schools in the last hour or so. Everyone's made their decisions for the day, at least for the main part of classes. And these are the school districts that we've heard from either late yesterday or early this morning saying they would be closed for today. And that's Alvin ISD, Anahuac Independent School District, Angleton ISD, Barbers Hill ISD, Bay City ISD, Brazosport ISD, Channelview ISD, Clear Creek, Cleveland, the College of the Mainland, Crosby ISD, Dayton ISD, Deer Park ISD, Dickinson, Friendswood, East Chambers, Galveston ISD, Galveston College, Goose Creek CS ISD. The theme you're seeing with a lot of these, yeah, they're along the coast. They're in Galveston County, Brazoria County, Matagorda area, because those are the areas that have been hit hardest by that rain overnight. Blake's been showing us those rainfall totals and what's expected, and we've seen that heavy band of rain just keep trending over and over again, or training over and over again in that same area. HCC, no classes today. High Island ISD, no classes today. Hitchcock ISD, LaPorte, Liberty, Pasadena, Santa Fe, Sweeney, Texas A&M, Texas City ISD, that's Texas A&M Galveston, is closed. Van Vleck ISD. So again, we have this full list on KHOU.com. Some after-school activities have been canceled, including for Houston ISD. Houston ISD, they will have classes today. The buses are already out there rolling around town. I know some parents upset about that. Some neighborhoods impacted worse than others. But they're saying all after-school activities and athletic events are canceled for the day, and they're going to continue to monitor these weather conditions. But for now, HISD is having class. Pearland ISD is also not on this list of closures. Pearland ISD saying overnight a rumor was going around and that there were classes canceled, and that is not true, although they are still making a decision about those after-school activities at last check. I want to show you the power outage tracker again once more. I'm continuing to see CenterPoint report an improvement as far as these outages go. Earlier this morning around 3 a.m. we had about 10,000 people without electricity. And now we're seeing reports of only 2,100. You know, just about 20 minutes ago, I showed you this map, we had 2,300. So the good thing is we only have 2,100 now. So that's down about 8,000 customers that were without power. As you know, with the power lights being out in certain areas, that certainly leads to travel issues. City of Galveston telling us this morning, where they have had some street flooding this morning. City of Galveston telling us that all island transit services are suspended until further notice. So if you're down in Galveston, you live down there, don't expect their public transit services to run this morning. And that's partially because of some of that street flooding that we've seen, and potentially not confirmed, some water possibly getting into some buildings down there. I'm just showing you some video just straight from Twitter. This is from Janelle Fort, one of our reporters. She just now tweeted this. Actually, one of our photographers out there helping to push some drivers out of the high water. This is along Monroe, down in the Hobby Airport area. So in particular, the section of Monroe south of Airport Boulevard, we still are having issues with high water there, some drainage issues. You can see it's not raining right now, but certainly it looks like at least 6 or 7 cars stalled out in these high waters. And Janelle kind of tweeting, hey, there are other places to go. Avoid Monroe Road. That's right near Hobby Airport. Our photojournalist Mars playing hero, helping those folks who have stalled out to help get them to higher ground. We also have this other video from Janelle, just talking more about the flooded roads, the stalled cars, and the drivers in general not paying attention to the warnings, because there are other routes you can go. And Janelle also tweeting this about 10 minutes ago, saying it is an absolute mess. You can see this latest video here. I'll enlarge it for you. And it continues to have drivers coming in both directions on Monroe. The problem is sometimes you don't realize you're in trouble until you're already in it. And in particular with flash flooding in Houston, as everybody who's lived in Houston for at least a couple years knows, it doesn't take much. You just 3-4 inches of heavy rainfall in a short period of time, and you end up with a scenario like this where people are coming down Monroe in both directions. It looks like the cross street here is Larson, if you know where this is, just near Hobby Airport. And again, in both directions, some people trying to get up on that median to try and avoid this, but unfortunately, once you're on it, you're stuck behind a long line of cars. You can't just put it in reverse, and that's how you end up with seeing this white van trying to make a U-turn. And some wreckers already going in. I'm kind of surprised there's wreckers already in there. Sometimes they'll just wait for their water to go down before they go in and try and remove some of these stalled vehicles. There's that guy in that small Nissan trying to jump up on the curb, but you can't see it. It's why it's so dangerous to drive around in high water. Not just because, even if it's not life-threatening high water, you don't know what's under the surface. It could be a hole in the ground, it could be a missing manhole cover. It's dangerous to even walk around in it. You see our photographer and reporter, for the most part, standing up on the curb where they're not inside the water. Except for Mars, he's getting out there helping those drivers. Our photographer helping push some of them to higher ground, and thankful for that. We're going to go ahead and pop up a live look at the latest weather alerts here, the flood advisories, and the radar and satellite view, of course, as well throughout the morning. And we'll just leave this kind of playing on a loop throughout the morning. As anything else develops, if we hear, for instance, from Pearland ISD about their decisions on after-school activities, we'll let you know. Make sure you download our mobile app, though, because, of course, we'll continue to have the latest updates there as well. And we'll send out any push alerts as well. The alert will pop up right on your phone. So if you download our new app, especially if you're on iPhone, you have to download the new app and then turn on your alerts, and we're going to send you anything important that pops up Not out of the woods quite yet. Flash flood watch continues for the rest of the day into tomorrow. And then probably late Thursday is when we can breathe that sigh of relief. We have some very saturated ground. So remember, it doesn't take much rain for it to just kick in, and then you have heavy rainfall and already saturated grounds, and we could experience some street flooding tomorrow as well. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. For now, we are not hearing of any schools that have canceled classes for tomorrow. So thanks for joining us here. We'll continue to update you as we hear anything else that comes into the newsroom.